Well, tomorrow, in addition to being another beautiful 65-degree day in D.C., there will be some heat on the Hill. Southwest Airlines COO will testify in front of a congressional committee. Transportation policy expert Alex Cherin is here with a preview and what the ongoing probes could uncover. Alex, good to see you this morning. Good morning.
Good to see you, Steve. Thank you for having me.
Well, listen, you've been there when it comes to government policy, and you've been looking at this from numerous sides. What are we expecting, first of all, to come out of this hearing tomorrow?
A lot of anger. I think a lot of frustration that's pent up in the system. I read a statistic yesterday leading into these hearings this week that 1 in 4 flights in the month of December last year was either canceled or delayed. That's just not sustainable, and I think that the COO from Southwest is going to get a good grilling. I think this is not the last of the hearings, and hopefully some good will come out of this.
So, and Alex, trust me, I mean, no disrespect to all the people who've been working hard on transportation issues for so long. But it seems like every time an issue comes up, we talk about the fact that we're either going to increase, potential penalties, we'll increase fines against the airlines. But the customer experience doesn't seem to be getting any better. How do we close that loophole?
Well, I'll take you back a couple years. There was a bill that was introduced in the Senate to codify a passenger bill of rights. Think about that. In most other industries, if a customer is harmed, they have a direct right of action against the manufacturer, against the provider of transportation. In the airline industry, we do not have that. That's been called for a number of years. Again, that bill was floated a couple of years ago, didn't really go anywhere. And if you listen to the State of the Union last night, the president even hinted at that, said that we've got to get past this fine print mentality in the airline industry. So hopefully that's something that will be resurrected in these hearings this week.
Is there anything that works as a happy medium, either in the meantime, or you can work it into maybe a long-term solution that would get through potentially Congress if it came to penalties in the future? As far as finding that balance where, customers will at least feel like they have some recourse if things don't go their way, and the airlines don't feel like they're essentially having to keep paying out if things don't go their way.
Two things. It's staffing, as we all know, and it's technology, right? We heard that coming out of the Southwest meltdown a few weeks ago. Technology isn't up to date, staffing isn't up to date, and these systems do not talk to each other. So the passenger system doesn't talk to the pilot system, doesn't talk to the flight attendant system, doesn't talk to the tower. And so, we need to integrate these different platforms, and then hopefully we'll have a better customer experience.
So I'm just going to keep this real here. We went through a lot during the pandemic when it came to the transportation industry. A lot of people left their careers, either took early buyouts, didn't think that they were needed. We came out of the pandemic and suddenly we're short-staffed in the airline industry. However, we also seem to have, issues when it comes to, as you mentioned, the communication systems or the technology systems. Why wasn't that upgraded during the time when less people were traveling?
Well, look, the margins are very thin in the airline industry. This is not dissimilar from what happened in the supply chain that we saw last year, where people weren't getting their goods on time. It's a business, and it's a bottom line oriented business. And when the margins are thin, there's not a lot of room to invest in new technologies when you don't have to. I don't know the last time you flew, Steve. The last time I flew out of LAX, every flight was booked in full. I can't remember the last time I've been on an airplane where it wasn't absolutely packed. And so, the airlines are sort of torn. They've got full flights, but they've got antiquated technology. So, we've got a little bit of a business case there, and hopefully this hearing this week will maybe shed some light on new innovative ways to make the customer experience better.
Right, which is important because, as you mentioned, the technology with Southwest most recently over the holidays came to the forefront. Look, I don't know if Congress can just say, this week, get a new system in place. Obviously, like you mentioned, it takes time, it takes money. But do you think that it will go that way? Will Southwest say, listen, we're going to bite the bullet here and make the investment? I'm sure they'll ask for more money from Congress to do so, but are changes going to come from a technology standpoint?
Well, nothing motivates businesses more than some public scrutiny, and that's certainly what they're going to get this week. I think two things are going to happen out of the hearings this week. Number one, like I said, I think that there's going to be a renewed interest in this passenger bill of rights. Imagine if, again, customers had a direct right of action. They could sue Southwest if they didn't get their bag. They could sue, United or Delta if their plane was delayed and caused them damage. I think that's where you're going to see the discussion lead this week. I think there will be pressure, obviously, from the oversight committees that are looking at this onto investing in new technology. And again, shining a light and public scrutiny is a great motivator for businesses.
Well, we're going to see what happens. It's certainly one of those issues that affects so many Americans who do travel on a regular basis. Really, if you just travel once and you have delays, it's going to be in your forefront of your mind. Alex, thank you so much for joining us this morning. Transportation policy expert Alex Cherin joining us with his insight. Thank you very much. It's good to